A lot of talk around the Alabama program right now and really Roll Tide Nation about NIL. And we're going to talk about that, the impact of NIL, what Mike's thoughts are, and how we can get some of that NFL money to turn into NIL money. All that right here on the All-American Report. Hey, before I start laughing too hard, let me play the opening. All right, there he is, right there. Mike Johnson, Mick Gillispie.
Hey, they ain't getting in my pockets, man. Let me just throw that out there. They ain't getting in my pockets.
Well, let's talk right on. Let's just talk about this. Greg Byrne came out, basically said we need NIL money. And when Jaylen Mbakwe almost got stolen away by probably Ole Miss, and I'm thinking, man, we can't lose guys like him. And the program's built for guys like Jaylen Mbakwe. I mean, this is what Alabama football is. It kind of opened the eyes, I think, of a lot of people that something's got to happen. We don't have a bunch of billionaires that are Alabama grads.
No, we definitely don't. And Greg, God bless him, man. I like Greg Byrne a lot. Always been really good to me, very personable. I think he's a great guy for the job there. But when I read that message, I was like, dude, this ain't it. It's and hey, I don't know if you noticed too, but the PR award goes to the Auburn AD. He slipped a very similar message in. I don't know if you saw this yesterday afternoon, sometime after Burns' message comes out. They sent an email to their season ticket holders saying prices are going up in certain sections of the stadium because of the NIL era and what we're dealing with in college football now. I was like, dude, that's PR 101. He knew that his wouldn't be a big deal on the the college football landscape because Greg Byrne was already taking the brunt of it. It's like dropping a big piece of news at 5:00 on a Friday. Like nobody's paying attention. Yeah. I mean, it stinks, dude. I'm talking to a few of my buddies that I played with, and they're like, "Boy, that went over like a turd in a punch bowl, didn't it?" Like, people were not excited to be, being asked to line the pockets of college football players a week before Christmas, man. It just, I get it, man. Like this is a billionaire business now. Like this is not supposed to be something that falls on the average fan in college football. But unfortunately, if you're not keeping up with the Joneses, then the Jaylen Mbakwe's, of that world are going to walk, man. It's just, we're a college football blue blood without a billionaire backer, and that just is what it is, man. You look at Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, right, Texas A&M, Texas. I mean, whatever. I mean, you keep going down the list. They've got a slew of them. So I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is. The unfortunate thing. I told those guys on Next Round Live earlier that feels like we're all just kind of sitting in a circle staring at each other, waiting on somebody to make the first move. Like. Mm-hmm. What's going to happen? I don't know if once the revenue sharing model, kind of comes about, if that changes anything, but it stinks, man, because the sport that we love is changing rapidly in a bad direction. And hopefully at some point, something can be done to kind of save it.
Guys, as you hang out with us, I want to throw this up here. The holiday deal from mybookie.ag, 300% deposit bonus for the casino and 50 free spins using the promo code next round, or 50% off of your, up to 50% sign up bonus for the sports book. I'm sorry. I'm reading today like I'm in third grade. I don't know what my problem is, but you guys get it, right? Mybookie.ag, use that promo code next round. And I'll put it like this. Holidays are here. You're saying to yourself, man, if I see one more Snoopy's float in the parade that my mother-in-law is making all of us watch, or, if I see, some of you guys don't like some of the classic Christmas movies, right? Like Jingle All the Way, or The Falkers Christmas. And you're going, I don't want to watch this. I'll play the casino.
Since when is Jingle All the Way a classic Christmas movie? What are we doing?
That in there. I love that one. It's got Sinbad. That's my one of my all-time favorites. It's got Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It does have Sinbad. I completely forgot about that.
Dude. And the other guy was one of the best SNL characters of all time. Phil Hartman's in that too.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and
he is.
you talk about unsung hero, man. Like,
Was he murdered?
yes, by his wife.
Oh man, I
In
forgot
sleep.
about that. Yeah.
Sleep. Yeah. So
Wow.
anyway, not to put a damper on a great
Yeah, sorry
Christmas
about that.
classic, right? They're trying to find Turbo Man the whole time. That what is there some presents that you guys are looking for this year? Hold that for the end of the show. Let's swing
Yeah.
back to that because I don't want to get too far away from the NIL because I think that as tough as it was for Greg Byrne to send that out, I think he needs to send that out, and I get it because as a guy that went to school at Alabama, like you did, right, and studied economics, I've never understood the model that we have with this college football, right? We have $1 billion business. Guys like you, not me, guys like you are out there performing what brings everybody to watch, and you didn't get any money for it. Oh, we're going to sell your number 72, and we're going to make all the money on that too. And we're going to put it on TV, and you're not going to get paid for that. And we're going to sell drinks and everything else in the stadium, but you guys don't get any of that either, right? Oh, but you get a scholarship. And we paid women's basketball to fly across the country and play in front of an empty arena. And don't look at the fact that no one cares and no one shows up, right? The problem that I have is that and you know this, we talked about it last time. I see Tyrone Protho should be a millionaire, and he's not. And so when I look at this, and Mike, you might totally agree with me. I look at the business model of this, and I'm going, something had to change. Now we're on the other side of that now, where they have no guardrails set up. But at Alabama, the thing that we have isn't billionaires, but we have a huge fan base. And if the NIL was something fun and something that people felt like they could really get behind, if maybe the swag was good, or maybe it is good and we just don't know. Maybe people like you and me that are associated with the program, we give of our time a little bit. We go out, we do this show live. We go to Innisfree and we charge everybody $50, and that goes in there, and we take donations, whatever we got to do. If we don't, to think that Ole Miss, who hasn't won a damn thing since I've been alive, nothing, is coming in and taking our best players. Just as an Alabama guy, Mike, should I go get my degree and throw it up here? I can't sit back and watch that, man.
No, but I think you got to go back to the first part of what you were saying. As a business model, there's a lot of things about the business model that don't make sense. They're just are. I mean, we have enough money to, support, I don't know, is it 18, 20 sports that are at University of Alabama? We got enough money to
make zero money, lose money, big money.
Well, that's my point is, and then you're putting, you're announcing expansions of Bryant-Denny and every other facility that's costing 20, 30, 50, 80 million dollars all the time. And it's like, well, there's where the money's going. You're constantly trying to. We just built the new golf center, which I love Alabama golf, but to your point, like how much money is that generating compared to the money that's being put into it right now?
Yeah,
that's a question. So it's an economic model, and look, that's what we're barreling towards. Like, unfortunately, I think that's what Greg Byrne's going to have to start weighing as we move forward. When you look at the donations and the money being made from ticket sales, the football stadium, and boosters and everything else, you're going to have to start weighing where that's going. You're going to have to start changing the spreadsheet a little bit, saying, well, this money used to go over here, but, oh, man, the price of doing business and staying in that top 10 in college football, it's going to have to go here for a little bit. Like, we're going to have to spread this out. So, unfortunately, dude, when the revenue sharing model, and I want to say the date, Mick, is like April 7th, when the House and all this committee hearing and everything starts kind of taking shape. I really think once that revenue sharing model comes into focus and you start realizing that all of these athletes, I'm talking about the crew team, tennis, all of these athletes are going to be part of that. Unfortunately, you're going to have to start seeing some hard decisions be made. I mean, Mick, I'm pretty sure Ohio State has 36 sports, if I'm not mistaken. 36.
Yeah.
There's no way even a place like Ohio State with as much money and as big as that fan base is, there's no way you can really look at it and start saying, boy, we can support all this. Like, people are going to have to start kind of cutting corners, and Alabama's going to be one of them because, to your point, there's not that single donor. I mean, like, you look at the Michigan situation when Dave Portnoy, they had one lady who's married to a billionaire is like, hey, here's $10 million. Like, what? Like, that's not happening in Tuscaloosa, dude.
Christy Curry is going to make $550,000 to coach 1 year of women's basketball that no one watches. They make the tournament every once in a while. And look, I support the girls. I want them to win. I mean, Jay Barker's daughter's on the team. Hey, she transferred from Georgia to Alabama, and I'm pulling for the kids. Look, this isn't a shot at the kids. It's a little bit of it at the mediocrity that this program is, and how it just kind of hides underneath, Title IX. And if they were winning like softball, I probably wouldn't care. But to make the tournament every decade and then, not make a serious run for a championship and make $550,000. I mean, what a waste. Look, take that $550,000 and pay Jaylen Mbakwe and pay, some of these other guys that could go somewhere else, because no one's going to notice if she's gone. They're going to notice if Mbakwe's at Ole Miss. They're going to notice if Ryan Williams is at Michigan, and the problem is that our whole economy is based on this football team. It's not just about winning at Alabama. It's about the economy. I mean, think about, let me tell you about Tennessee, because I spent a lot of time in Knoxville. When they weren't winning in football, they couldn't keep businesses on Cumberland Avenue because people were just sick and tired of being losers. And now that they're winning, they're building a business district around their stadium. They're adding a tax to their NIL. Their businesses are doing better. We went through the housing crisis. I lived in Tuscaloosa, and thank God for Coach Saban and winning football, because it didn't affect us. But I'm telling you right now, it's more than just being Alabama football and wearing rings. It's also the economy that we have in our state is affected by this football program. And so no one's going to care if women's basketball, or I love baseball, but it's the same situation there. They're overpaying all these coaches for nothing. And the football is the only one that matters.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you to an extent on a lot of that. I don't know what the end goal is. I think it's going to be a situation, Mick, where you just simply have to ask yourself, not what's going to change it or what's going to put it in reverse, but what's going to make it easier to stomach. I think what's going to make it easier to stomach for me is eventually when, hopefully, you're going to here's what I think is going to happen. I think you're going to break into a super league. I think it's going to be the top of the ACC, the top of the Big 12, the whole Big 10, the whole SEC. Like, that's what I think is going to happen. I think you're going to have all those teams break off and say, look, we're going to operate under one set of rules. Everybody else can do whatever else they need to do. And I think that's what it's going to take. And then hopefully, the only thing that can make this palatable to me is that these guys can get in a situation where they can put players under contract, so that we're not having this conversation, so that players are not walking into Kalen DeBoer's office once every 2 or 3 weeks and saying, well, I got offered over here. I got offered over here. I got this offer. My agent called this guy. Like, we've got to find a situation where if you're going to pay exorbitant amount of money, that these guys are going to be there for the long haul and you can develop them, and they're not going to leave in the first week of December, even if you're in the college football playoff, which some teams are dealing with. Like, you have to find a situation where your investment is going to be worth something. Because in the end, I don't think most Alabama fans and alumni or whatever else mind paying towards the NIL. But the problem is that you could go donate $10,000 right now to Jaylen Mbakwe if you really wanted to, right? And there's nothing to say that Jaylen Mbakwe in 2 months or 3 months or 4 months, whenever the portal opens back up, I don't even know when that is not going to leave. And that's the frustrating part of this whole thing. It's not really the money or the fact that you're being asked for money. It's the fact that you're being asked for money from an athletic department whose gross income is like $200 million or whatever it is, right? And then you never know how long these players are going to be here. And that's the frustrating part, Mick, is that you don't know when that's ever going to end, and you don't know who's going to step up and make rules, and you don't know where the actual central governing body of this whole thing kind of lies, because the federal government's, not to go too deep there, but they're messing up things like they always do.
Yeah,
So,
well, they're going to have to fix it. I mean, I heard there's a bipartisan committee that's got the votes once they figure it out to pass something that they have to have a cap on this, because the smaller schools aren't going to be able to compete. And the fact that Ohio State can come in and buy your best players away, and I think they might win the national championship, and it's because they've got a team full of hired help. But I mean, I guess all these schools do now that have the money.
Well, and that's the thing is don't tell me, don't come at me and say, well, that's just how it is in the real world. You can leave one job and go to the other one.
No, you can't.
Every job that I've been a part of in the entertainment world has a non-compete clause. Like, don't give me that. Like, you can't. I can't leave my radio job and go to a station across town and compete against that one and sit there and trash the other radio station. You have a non-compete clause. You can't just get up and walk out. And that's the problem. Well, the NFL's got contracts like that. At no other place in the real world is this allowed. It's just not. I mean, it's frustrating, man. And like you said, somebody's got to step up. And I know that Lord knows there's a number of government officials that have been a part or are close to the college football thing. But we'll see what comes of it all, man. But yeah, to go back to the original kind of comment, Greg Burns' timing on that one.
I know you don't like the timing. I mean, I can't really say much, because I said the same thing the day before he put the letter out, and I don't know. That's not my job. My job is to come on here and tell you guys exactly what I think. And I'm not pulling punches, and it's not personal, with some of these sports. Some of them it is, but I want Alabama to do well. I care about Alabama. I graduated from Alabama. I've been there, and you too, Mike, when we weren't great. And I saw what you guys did to get us where we were back on top, and then to see that ride. But if Alabama won 2 games, I'd still love them. But I don't want to see that happen, and the fact that that your old coach, I don't even want to talk about Sweetwater today, but they're just going to come in and keep trying to buy your players from you and be a thorn in your side. I mean, I get that, but it just pisses me off. And whatever we have to do to to not only to be in position to keep the guys that we have until they get this fixed, but to actually go on the attack. Let's go get their best players. I mean, instead of being in a loser program that's never won anything, you could come here. We'll take you through. Mike, pull out the rings. You see those? When's the last time they got them? In the 50s? We weren't even alive then, That's right. So, I mean, we have to take advantage of what we do. And that's what we do. We win, and we're huge. Like, do you ever see the movie Three Amigos?
No.
Oh, you missed out. Okay. But
it's probably before I was born.
It probably was, but I'm going to tell you what, Chevy Chase is in there. You ever heard of him before?
Yeah. I heard he's not nice.
Steve Martin, all for each other and all for one. The Three Amigos. Look, at the end of the movie, though, I don't want to spoil this for you, and the rest of the audience has never seen it. But to thwart the bad guys, they used their masks. There's so many of them, and they all dressed like amigos, and and fought off the bad guys. Like, we're gonna have to use our masks. That's what we do. That's what we have. We have the best fans in college football. We have the best tradition in college football. And when we have to figure out a way to band together to save our program from the Ohio States and the Freshwaters and these other people that are going to come in and try to take us down, man. There's a lot of barrels pointed at us right now, Mike.
I was wondering what you were talking about a minute ago when you said Sweetwater. I was like, what?
Oh, I mean fresh. Sweetwaters were.
No, man. It just, you know what, dude?
Different.
I love the rallying cry. I really do. It's hard for me, right? It's just hard for me. It's hard to. I'm old now, dude. I'm 15 years removed. There is movement in the government legislation to pay players back as recent as like 2016, I think.
Really?
Yeah, and I think there's a lawsuit out there. Somebody filed.
You or Jake?
No, it's not gonna do much of anything. and
I
that's
don't know if I'd
fine.
have been able to cash in on this with you, but it would have been fun to watch.
Well, Mick, here's the thing. Like, I'm not trying to get too somber here, but dude, I learned a lot of things in college from like Coach Saban. We talked when Coach Saban retired. It's like, dude, like, I mean, like every life lesson you can think of about
Yeah.
accountability and
Amazing.
prompt and like
Discipline.
you just don't have that. Like these guys just. I'm not trying to get too somber, dude, but they're just not. They're never going to have that opportunity again, and that's why you see good. I mean, that's why Jim McElwain just hung them up. That's why you see. That's why you see good coaches that are like, dude, I ain't got time for this. Like, I don't have time to deal with this, and so, it's frustrating, man. It like I said, not to go too deep in the weeds, but I know that I was not Greg Burns' target audience. I'll just put it that way. Like he wasn't talking to me. I hope he wasn't talking to me.
Well, okay, you're talking about like having like former players and stuff.
Well, just I don't know, dude. Just period. Like it just feels. I don't want to say it feels like a slap in the face because, like I said, he wasn't talking to me.
Yeah.
But it just feels like a slap in the face when there's so many people that have given so much of their time, their resources, their energy to that program to now come at the fan base and go, well, guess what?
Oh, you
needs
mean
to hit another level.
It
ain't enough.
About NFL. You're just talking about fan base.
You know how we had to get to here before? Well, we got to like triple that. Like, you know, like we got to get more. And
but
I don't know, man. I'm having trouble with all of it. And you know what's funny? Like I've been obviously inundated with the Michael Penix thing all week this week and the college playoff coming up. I keep thinking, man, it would almost be nice if Bama was in the playoff just so I didn't have to hear about portal news and players being bought and everything else. And then come to find out, like all these other schools are dealing with the same thing. Like Ole Miss is not just rating the non-playoff teams. They're going in and rating all of them, you know, like they're not pulling any punches. They're like, oh, we're going to get left out. Well, guess what? You're coming down with us too. So, man, I don't know. It just, the rich get richer in this sport. I think that's going to happen, man. I think, listen, I don't know what the future holds for SMU and Arizona State and some of those teams, but those teams that are in the playoff right now, got news for you. Good luck getting back there next year because they are about to get torn apart.
Yeah, they're coming after you. So I feel like Greg Byrne is the mayor of Gotham, and he went out and he threw up the light, the symbol, you know, the bat symbol. Like,
dude, where do you come up with this stuff, man? I really genuinely don't know. You went Three Amigos. And all that, like the way your brain works in terms of movie scenes is unbelievable, man.
I had a late night at Trim Tab.
Golly,
playing bingo. You ever played bingo at Trim Tab before? I wanted to win.
No, I can honestly say that I have not, dude.
It was fun, but they did a collab. I had to go pick up this collab of with Dissolver. They're trying to raise money for the hurricane relief in Asheville. In North Carolina. So I swung over there, so got to support the effort. Got to, four of tall boys in the.
Did they have something in the trend? Did they have a little THC sprinkled in there or something, man? Like, what are you talking about, man?
They do have a lot of those.
No, I still don't know where you're going. Like,
okay. Well, they put up the bat symbol, and basically, we've been inundated with these. These bad guys, and we're trying to get them out. He's basically telling the fan base, we need help, and whether it's fair or not, whether the timing's right or wrong, he's saying we need help, and you got to listen to it, because the other option is to watch our players leave. And this, Mike, you're as good as your players, you're as good as the talent that you have. I mean, what's the difference between the 09 and the 07 Saban team? Same coach. Right? You guys have more talent and you won a championship. You also had a lot of, you also did everything the right way. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Talent's part of that, man. You got to have a Julio Jones, and Mark Ingram, and a Mike Johnson, So I just feel like I think it's the last thing that Greg Byrne would want to do is go out there and basically say, hey, man, we need your help, but they need our help. And so I'll carry the flag. I'm not afraid to, tell you first off that the way that they're distributing the money in college sports is bullshit. Sorry. I already talked
Yeah.
about that, but it's not his fault. It's the way that the system's been set up. And for us to maintain a roster of talented players, Mike, if I love Alabama, but if somebody came at me with $1 million, it's $1 million. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is there's nobody. That's what makes this entire situation difficult, right? Is there's nobody. It's blameless.
yeah,
You're not,
right.
who's to blame?
Nope.
The legislators, they're just enacting the rules that they feel like should have been in place. It's a blameless scenario. That's what's so frustrating. But I just hope there's somewhere to turn, man. But you're right. I mean, Greg Byrne he's doing he's shooting off the flare. He's saying, dude, the ship's sinking if we don't, if we're just treading water. So,
and that's not the A. This isn't the A. This is the Batman symbol right here.
Man.
All right, I got to ask you this, okay? I got to, and I love that, by the way. I didn't do it today because this is a very serious show. Normally, I start the show with the Johnson. We call that the Johnson A. But not today.
No, we don't.
Hey, you said something that, like, on the next round that blew my mind. That schools are paying players to stay on the team and practice because they might transfer that are in the playoff.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody today about that, and they were saying that there are starters that might leave later on some of these playoff teams, but the backups, and I think it happened at Georgia with Julian Humphrey a few weeks ago. Penn State's backup quarterback just left and announced he's out. So you've heard about some backups leaving now, but there is a school and possibly multiple that are in the playoff that are paying their players to stay and practice because they're afraid if they all start leaving, they won't have enough players to actually get the look they need to prepare for the college football playoff.
How about this?
I mean, when I heard that today, I almost puked. I was like, okay, but you know what? You know what's the flip side of it, Mick? And I've alluded to this a couple of times today talking to people. When that starts happening in the product that ESPN has put billions into starts becoming watered down and not getting the viewership, doesn't that make the other stakeholders in college football stand up and say, all right, man, like, enough's enough?
Yeah.
Because I think that's it. You're going to have to break the system. Like this whole thing where we're, 12 teams in and home games and we got to keep this bowl here because we want this bowl to be on this day. And this is the semis and this is the net. Like once that starts breaking down and ESPN's still on the hook for a game that nobody wants to see because everybody left, the Marshall University thing where their whole team is going to like Southern Miss and other places. That's going to be a kick in the butt to a lot of people. So I don't know, man. I hated hearing that, but at the same time, I'm like, maybe that's what it takes. Maybe it takes, some of these higher ups, these high level billionaire officials to be like, man, this ain't good.
Yeah,
something's got to be done. So I don't know, man. That makes me sick because obviously all these guys and a lot of, and like you said, I don't blame them. They're out for themselves. But now there is zero allegiance to that university. Now, all the fans that you've asked money to give to the players, now the players going, oh, okay, thanks. But you know what? I'm out.
Yeah. Right.
That's when that's like I said, that's when it's really hard to stomach, man. So yeah, can we just get some contracts and I'll feel a little bit better about it? But I'm in a bad place with it right now. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I think we all feel that way, man. It's not like I'm over here going, hey, I love this system.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, this is great.
Let's make it rain.
Yeah, right. I'm going for my stacks. No, I'm not. I don't care about that. Yeah. And I know that it stinks. But at the same time, I'm telling you that our economy is tied into this football program being successul. It's a lot more than just, hey, I want to beat Auburn, LSU, and Tennessee, too. Yeah. It's a lot more than that. And that's why I'm telling you that him saying that, and then the next thing is you add money to the ticket cost. You add a tax. Maybe you put a tax on the food that you're selling out there. Maybe instead of selling those beers for $15, you sell them for $20. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. But I know this, paying a women's basketball team coach that hasn't won, a conference championship, or, made a real run in the tournament in 20 years, $550,000, and nobody even shows up to the games. It just doesn't make sense to me when all the revenue's coming from football and a little from basketball. Hey, and if you're winning, I got a little love for you, man. You win a national championship, Coach Murph. I'm not throwing you in this. I saw you in the World Series last year. You represent. But baseball, where have you guys been since Jim Wells left? You got the coach out there gambling. I mean, come on, man. We got a new coach now, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, here's the thing though. And this is what I've really, because I was almost talking to somebody earlier today, and I was like, at what point of these sports start getting cut?
Yes.
But where is the overlap between Title IX and this new revenue sharing system? Like,
I don't want them
can
cut.
you really force the Title IX to stay in effect when we have turned to a business model now? Like, that's going to be the biggest question.
It can't. And then the other thing is, like, you know what? Maybe they need to ride the bus. Maybe they need to, instead of taking a trip out to Puerto Rico where nobody's going to watch you, or taking a trip to, the Virgin Islands where nobody's going to watch you, or
I just want to state for the record that I do not share Mick's opinion on almost any of this. So I just want to be very clear is when somebody takes a clip from the show
or win something, shut me up and win a national championship.
Well, they're not going to be able to do that, Mick, if they don't have players. You just said that, right? I'm
just telling you, but hey,
you just said we have to pay for the talent if we're going to win games.
Basketball might win a championship. I saw them in the Final Four last year.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, hold everybody up to these standards because I tell you what, if you get to the Final Four, and Rick Moody did it, people used to show up to the women's games. They used to be attended. People used to care. So a lot of that has to do with winning and not, sliding under the radar, making excuses and all this stuff. Like, look, but at the end of the day, it's still driven. The entire thing's driven by football. Football's
let me stop you there because I think we know that the NBA is more lucrative than the NFL, right? Like we understand that. Like the NBA, you have a 12-player roster,
right?
You're going to see, I don't know, I was talking to somebody, you're going to see Trae Young making like $70 million soon, like a year. It's unbelievable, right? The problem is when it comes to college football, and this is where I'm really confused as to what's about to happen. I was telling the guys on the next round, like depending on how long you've been in the league, like a practice squad player in the NFL is bringing in like between like $13,000 and $20,000 a week, not on a contract, just a week to week. Like that's what you're going to make, right? So you're clearing, I don't even know how much that is, 18-week season. You don't get paid for training camp. You don't really get paid for OTAs. It's just game week. You're getting that much money. Mm-hmm. Like you're going to see these guys that were once like, oh man, my goal is the NFL. Like I'm going to go get drafted. Like I'm going to I think I could be a second or third rounder. Like they're going to be like, no, I'm good. Like, why would I do that? Why would I take a pay cut and go be a second rounder and go to the NFL? Like, it's not as lucrative for a lot of these people. When we were having the conversation about Carson Beck, it's probably not as lucrative for Carson Beck to go right now to the NFL as it would be if he stayed another year and got a top 5 slot, right? Because you're just not making the money right off the bat that you are right now in college. You don't, like, I think the rookie minimum right now is like maybe $800,000. Depending on what your signing bonus is, Mick, I'd probably stick around college for a little bit longer. I just would. Right. So it just that's another kind of key piece of this. When you look at basketball, kind of back to your point, it's really important to go to a program that you can get at the NBA because college basketball is nice, and I'm sure the NIL deals at some of these blue bloods are nice. You get to the NBA, that's when you can really make money. It's not so much in the NFL. The NFL money is not near what the NBA is.
Well, here's the last thing I'm going to say. Because I know some of you guys are probably burnt up at me right now for me giving you my opinion on this. But I'm going to tell you the final thing is that NIL isn't what's going on. It's not like, hey, I want Mike to wear my shirt.
No, it's not even close.
I want Mike to say, hey, you know what? Come down to Innisfree on Friday, and they're paying everybody now. And
Yeah.
and it's not supposed to be like this. So they've turned this into where it's not amateur athletics. If the legislation comes in and they say, hey, we're going back to it being amateur, and you are, capped at a certain amount of money, then that would probably fix a lot of this. And I think that the part of the reason why so much stuff's going on right now is that that we all know that it's wrong. We all know that the way that this is that this whole thing's going down is complete bullcrap too. And this Democrats and Republicans both want to fix it, which is amazing because they can't seem to get on the same page on much anymore. But
on anything.
But but both sides are saying, hey man, we want to get that. We want to get that done. It's like Brett and me, do a show together. We talk politics, never agree, but he's still my best friend, right? Like, you can do this, guys. Like, we would both agree on this, right? So I think this is what's going to happen here, is that they're going to fix it. And then, and then, if you're one of the players, you missed an opportunity to maybe pay for the rest of your life with one of these deals. It's not supposed to be like that, but I think that they'll eventually go back to what NIL is supposed to be. They'll have strong guidelines, and it probably won't be until 2026, but it's something that's on the docket. Marco Rubio is one guy that I know is trying to put something together, and I can't remember what the Democrat's name is, but they're going to figure it out. So I think that the good news is I feel like we're eventually going to get to the point where they're going to cap it out, and then they're going to move on from it. And that's going to save women's basketball. It's going to save, in some places, women's basketball is like really big deal and they win. And it's another sport that doesn't do well, but it'll save those Olympic sports. They're in my crosshairs, Mike. They are in my crosshairs.
I just want to say again that I do not co-sign on anything this man is talking about.
You think $550,000 is a fair contract for that?
It's, if somebody's willing to pay it, it's fair. That's the bottom line. You're worth what somebody wants to pay you.
That's right. That's right. You could get somebody to do that job for $100,000, $50,000.
You're not getting me here, man. You
I'll take Mbakwe. Okay, give me Mbakwe. I love that guy. I couldn't stand the thought of him leaving. It was like that when legend from Paul Feinbaum sending out memes that Rome's burning, that starts to concern people.
All right, man. All right. I can't keep up with you anymore. You're
off the chart.
Go take a go drink a trim tab, man. You're off the walls today.
This is it. It's yeah, it is. Okay. Well, look, man, great talking to you. Spirited debate today. I feel like this was one of my favorite shows. I'm sure I'll get eaten up in the comment section, but I got a feeling, Mike, that a few people are going to be on my side too.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. That's the beauty of the comment section, Mick. The Cover Crimson tailgate, they call it, out there. So that's the beauty of it, man.
All right.
I'm going to get a beer after listening to you for half an hour.
Oh man, I'm worried. I don't need my football team losing all these players. All right, 300% deposit bonus for the casino and 50 free spins using the promo code next round, or 50% sign up bonus for the sports book, mybookie.ag. Promo code next round. Take advantage of it right now. Mike Johnson and Mick Gillispie, always here on the All-American Report. And you can like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Love to hear your guys' opinions. Look, we're on here giving our take. We want you guys to give your take. And we'll kind of get back together again soon and talk about it. But yeah, roll tide, everybody, and we'll talk to you again next time.